Alright, I hate to have to say this, but it's been a minute. And stuff's just been harder than I thought it'd be. And I'm not gonna make a promise once more because, as we saw last time, that didn't really work. So I'm not gonna promise to do a lot of uploads. Just know that I will, and I'm continuing to try my best to give as much content and the best kind of content that I can. I really am trying. There's not much I can say. I'm sorry for the lack of uploads. I'll try my best. Now, let's get on to the part of the episode. What if Naruto had all Genkai part 8? Let's go. Now that Naruto, Ino, and Sasuke, all three, were Genin, now they could start on their journey. They came in the classroom the next day and met up with their Jonin sensei. Well, that was the plan anyways. It took a long time till the Jonin sensei arrived. That was Jonin Kakashi Hatake, the last remaining one of his clan, but still an incredibly strong shinobi, famous around the world. Of course, they had their introductions and then were called to the roof. Just that, well, it was 3 hours after everybody else was gone, so Naruto and Sasuke were already asleep, Ino the only one being awake. So she woke both of the boys up, and then they all went to the roof. Kakashi had each one introduce themselves, and then explain what they would do over the next few days. Well, most importantly, what they would do tomorrow. Tomorrow morning would start their, well, last exam, you could say. It was an exam to see if they were truly prepared to be Genin, named the Bell Test, and they weren't supposed to eat the day before. Not much was said about it, but Kakashi said he would explain the next day. So without eating, Naruto and Ino went pretty early to the training ground, and met up with Sasuke on the way. But, no surprise, their Jonin sensei was nowhere to be found. And so, they sat there, and waited, and waited, and waited, until 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, and finally, after 2.5 hours of waiting, Kakashi Hatake arrived. He kind of did the opposite of what he said he would do. He didn't come on time. He didn't explain what they would do either. He just said, let's start. You have to grab the spell. There's only 2 for 3 people, so 1 will have to go back to the academy, and that's basically it. And then they started the challenge. Now, as much as they wanted to win this challenge, neither Sasuke nor Naruto or Ino wanted another to fail. None of them wanted the other to go back to the academy. All of them wanted to go together to become Genin, and they wanted to stick together no matter what happens. So they thought of a loophole. Kakashi said that all of them need to be holding a bell, so if they all keep the bells inside one person's hand but all hold them, then that would count, right? First they had to get them though, else it was just wishful thinking. So they fought. They worked in a team, of course. They were legends. They were insane at fighting in a team. Both Ino, Naruto, and Sasuke all fought at the same time. None of them not doing something at any given time. Each one doing ninjutsu, taijutsu, or anything. They were fighting as if they'd been fighting in a war for 20 years all together as a specially trained squad of soldiers. It was insane. Kakashi was completely taken back at this. How? How could these little children, these runts, even do anything to a Jonin? Yet, with more and more time, Kakashi had to take this fight more and more seriously. Of course, he knew that he had to take the Uchiha boys somewhat seriously, but then these other two, they're not weak. If anything, they're on the same level, if not even stronger. And the yellow-haired boy, he's a mystery. But then something completely unexpected happened. Whilst they were both fighting close distance, maximum maybe mid-distance, Sasuke and Naruto were now completely backing off, jumping back with Ino taking the advance. But instead of using any ninjutsu or anything like that, Sasuke and Naruto focused their energy, focused their chakra into their head, specifically their eyes. And then Sasuke, with his Uchiha genes, turned on the Sharingan. And Naruto, well, he turned a Sharingan as well as a Byakugan. A deadly combo that shouldn't even be possible by the laws of nature. The Naruto was a beast that completely transcended nature itself. Now they were all three of them, pushing Kakashi back, well, theoretically back, but pushing Kakashi into each other. He was completely surrounded, and he couldn't do anything to escape. And even when he tried to jump up and get high ground in the air, Naruto was simply too fast, and the other two followed him as well. Kakashi could not get a moment of break, and then he did it himself. He took off the patch on his left eye, and the Sharingan of Kakashi Hatake saw the daylight, and saw the three genin in front of him. Now, it was three Genkai users, specifically three Sharingan users, all fighting each other. Well, not each other. Two of them allied against the other one. And this did help Kakashi, but it wasn't enough. He was still pushed back, as Naruto seemed to get stronger and stronger by the second at this point. And as strong as he was, he couldn't use all of his power. And so, swallowing his pride, he let himself be captured and his belts be taken by the three genin. And, well, it's kind of a given, but they did pass the test. Of course, they did all three hold the two belts, but that wasn't even the true purpose of the test, Kakashi explained. It was just to see if they could do teamwork, which, well, they did a little bit too good, if that's even a thing. Then they started their first missions. Of course, the D-rank missions, but they were insanely boring, and all three of the genin decided to complain to the Hokage himself. And so, of course, he was already planning to, but then he gave them a harder mission. This one being a C-rank mission to escort Tazuna, the bridge builder. So Tazuna came out from the room next door and met all three, well, 4 shinobi, 3 genin. Tazuna didn't bother to make any comments about the genin. Whilst they did kinda look funny at first, they all had serious expressions on their face, and seemed to be ready for battle. And then, looking up at their sensei, Tazuna knew not to mess with them. They weren't just kids, they were shinobi. So, they started their mission pretty fast, and yeah, Kakashi wasn't late to the appointment. They all met at the gates, and then left, using a diamond position where Naruto was in the front, Sasuke to the left, Ino to the right, and joining Kakashi at the back, with Tazuna being in the middle, being protected from all sides. On the way, they saw a puddle, which turned out to be a genjutsu of 2 demon brothers, 2 chunin who were sent to kill Tazuna. But Naruto and Sasuke, each one getting one of the brothers, they both handcuffed them. Well, that was the plan after all. But Naruto seemed to go further. In the end, he ended up killing one of the brothers. Over his journey with Itachi, many people had tried to take Itachi's bounty. They were actual shinobi who tried to capture Itachi for his crimes. Others who simply tried to rob Itachi as if he was a normal person. And with that, Naruto saw bloodshed and murder and killing. Not all was done by Itachi, but a fair amount. He tried to use his genjutsu as much as possible, but some people, they refused. They refused to take no for an answer, and they had to fight till their death. And at some point, Naruto started helping Itachi as well. Therefore, Naruto became a murderer, and he lived with that sin until now. However, his nature could not be stopped and could not be changed. Therefore, he continued to now kill. It wasn't even on purpose. It was an instinct of Naruto's. And now, staring at his corpse in front of him, many memories came back of Itachi's smile. After Sasuke and Ino pulled him out of his misery, Naruto went on with the mission. Kakashi tried to get some answers from the left demon brother, but he seemed to be in a state of shock and could not give any straight answers, which is why they left him there. But Kakashi sent a dog back to Konoha for them to, well, grab this rogue shinobi and put him in jail, or interrogate him, or whatever, really. It was up to the elders to know what to do with outlaws. But so Team 7 continued to do their mission. And then, of course, Kakashi became curious and suspicious of Tazuna's promise. He said it was a C-ranked mission, but just from these Chunin level threats, it was clearly B-ranked, at least. And they hadn't even really started the mission. This was just on their journey to get to Tazuna's village. Tazuna admitted this problem, that he didn't have enough money, and that his village didn't have enough money to send him and have enough to pay for a mission like that. But with a vote amongst the Genin, Kakashi found out that each one of them was ready to fight, even in a harder mission. And so Tazuna was overcome with joy, and they continued the mission nonetheless. Just before they get to Tazuna's house, they find a shinobi of a whole different kind of caliber. This was Zabuza Hoshigaki. He was a jonin from the Hidden Mist, and challenged Team 7 to hand over Tazuna, else it would be bloody. But of course Team 7 wasn't willing to comply, so a fight broke out between Kakashi and Zabuza, though Naruto and Sasuke both joined in, and Ino protected Tazuna. Quickly, Zabuza noticed that he was completely outmatched. He would be kind of able to beat Kakashi, even if it was pretty close, but no way he could beat Zabuza. So basically, his equivalent, which you kind of would be able to beat, plus these two Genin, who seem to be completely out of any league of any other Genin. They would at least be Chunin. One of them, the yellow-haired one, perhaps even stronger than a regular Chunin. They were not normal Genin. And so, Haku, one hidden in the trees, threw many Sanron needles at Zabuza, which stopped her heartbeat, breathing, and really any mortal life signs. However, Naruto had seen this before. He had seen many medicinal tricks from Kabuto, and would not buy this, as he clearly saw that Zabuza was not truly dead. So when Haku came over to collect Zabuza's body, Naruto attacked him with a kunai. And since Zabuza was completely out of combat shape, well, Haku was off to fend for himself. He tries to use his ice mirror technique, though Sasuke quickly pushed out any chance of that happening by kicking Haku right across the cheek. Well, his face. So now both Haku and Zabuza were on the ground, and they had no chance. Kakashi summoned all sorts of dogs, each one to help escort Zabuza and Haku back to the Leaf Village, as Kakashi made sure that both of them would stay unconscious long enough for the puppies and dogs to get to Konoha and bring these two fugitives, well, outlaws, to justice. And then they continued their mission. Kakashi was now completely impressed with both Sasuke, Naruto, and even Ino. All of them made a strategy very quick, were all incredibly strong, and helped Kakashi. But Naruto even more. He noticed that Zabuza was not dead, and attacked Haku just as fast. It was incredible. Even some Jonin would have had trouble dealing with that. But now they continued their mission. And so, after a few days of rest, they guided the bridge builder to the actual bridge for him to build it. Naruto helped out building. He was really, really fast and had mastered a completely secret technique. This was the Shadow Clone, and it was taught to him by Orochimaru, who thought that he had so much power that he could learn it. And of course, Naruto also had a bunch of other clones, such as Wood Clone, but he didn't want to use them since it would be very suspicious if a random kid had Wood style, wouldn't it? He hadn't told anyone about his god tier genetics, except for Sasuke and Ino. Well, partly. But of course now Kakashi knows that he has the Sharingan for whatever reason. They didn't really discuss why. But Kakashi's kind of interested in Naruto now, for whatever reason. Sharingan being one of them. So they completed the mission by, well, on the last day, killing anybody who arrived, as a whole bunch of people hired by Gato, the one who wanted to stop the bridge building as it hurt his business, a true mafia man, hired a bunch of assassins, rogue shinobi, criminals, and so on to take out Team 7 and Tazuna, though were all quickly defeated by Team 7, each one defeating about 10 shinobi. Well, fighters, not truly shinobi, but it felt like they were fighting true shinobi, so they made it out to be that. And Kakashi saw even more fighting power in his genin, and he saw the will to fight in their genin. And then finally, they struck down Gato, saving the land forever. They got back to the village, Konoha the village, that is, but not before finding out that this village would be named the Naruto Bridge, as he was essential in not only building it, but also helping to save Tazuna's life, now twice. Well, really 3 times if you count the Demon Brothers, though they weren't a big threat. Anyways, now their first mission has been completed, their first hard mission that is, as it was now named an A-rank mission with the interference of Zabuza and Haku. However, nonetheless, they completed it perfectly, which earned all of them a bonus, a little bit of extra cash. And now they found out from Kakashi that tuning exams would soon be held, and he thought that each one of them should apply and would probably have a good chance at actually becoming tuning from the kind of skill that he just saw on this mission. But that's going to be it for this part. And more interestingly, I'm going to do something that I haven't done before. With this series, I'm going to leave it open-ended. Now, of course, I didn't get through a lot of the actual series in quite a long time. That, well, I took just explaining stuff. But I'm going to leave it here for anyone who's willing to continue the series in their head, write it out, or actually make a what if on YouTube. Anyone's free to upload if you want to. I promise I won't have a problem with it. So, whatever you do, I hope you enjoyed the beginning of the series, and I hope you'll continue to make it up in your head. Thank you for watching, and I hope you liked it.